Good evening, and good evening once again. I'm going to make some adjustments here to my lighting. I need to make a few adjustments. So just give me a moment to do that, to make those adjustments that I am trying to make right now. And I would like for you to share this live stream. Share this live stream. I did make a post, and in that specific post, I stated that I would provide human trafficking, and I also intend to provide sex trafficking education to the Facebook community for free via StreamYard broadcast. And so I will be definitely providing that instruction, education, um, information that you would need to better combat human trafficking or prevent yourself from becoming a victim of human trafficking. Okay. That is extremely important. Extremely important. Um, Feel free to comment during this live stream. I can and will display, I can and I will display your comments. Okay. During this live stream, the comments that you are making. I'm still trying to make some adjustments, okay? So just bear with me. I'm still making adjustments right now to my camera, to this live stream. Lighting is extremely important. I don't want too much light, but I do want just enough light on myself, just enough so you can see me clearly. Um, Thank you again. I am going to begin sharing this live stream. I'm going to begin sharing this live stream with and before I began sharing this live stream, I must okay. With it looks like the sound is it's good. The sound is wonderful, and that's awesome. Okay. Okay. It looks like the sound is just trying to check out the sound and see what was happening with the sound, but I believe the sound quality is okay. Check out the sound and see what was happening with the sound, but I believe the sound quality is okay. Please let me know if you notice that there are some issues with the sound, quality of this live stream. You can send me a message. Some types of issues I may not be able to correct in the middle of the live stream, and I may have to do some troubleshooting um, to try to figure out what's going on so that the audio quality is better, right? Is better the next time around. I am going to begin tagging some of my supporters in this live stream. Before I begin this discussion, which I would like this discussion to take place about 9:30 p.m. I believe it's important that I give my viewers time. I want to give you time sufficient time rather to join this live stream today. And I'm going to ask you to share. Please share this live stream. So I'm going to ask you to share this live stream with your friends. Okay. I want you to share this live stream. Who do I want you to share it with? I would like for you to share this live stream with your friends and family. Please share this live stream with missing person groups, right? With missing person groups you join, right? Missing person groups that you join. I'm going to share this live stream now with Missing, Lost, and Trafficked. I am an admin for Missing, Lost, and Trafficked. I'm sharing this live stream with Justice for Ariel. I'm sharing this live stream with Justice for Cassidy. I'm now sharing this live stream with the Grim Truth Podcast. I am now sharing this specific live stream. I'm continuing with the sharing of this live stream to, it looks like there is a new Black Panther Party group that I've shared this live stream with. I'm sharing this live stream with Black Talk Worldwide. I'm sharing this live stream with Vegas Missing and More. I'm sharing this live stream with Chicago Missing Teens. I'm sharing this live stream now with Human Trafficking Support Group. I'm continuing to share this live stream with looking for other people that I'm going to share this live stream with today. So I'm continuing to share this live stream with missing women, missing children and women. I believe that is the name of that live stream. I am continuing on with sharing this live stream with Summer Wells, Facts and Updates. And those are the groups that I have decided to share this live stream with on today. Waiting for some of you to join. I see the number 1 next to the I. Yeah, it would be great. Please help. Missing, Lost, and Trafficked. Right. I'm going to type a message for you to help Missing, Lost, and Trafficked, because this is a very important stream. I have very important information to share with you. So I don't want to talk to myself. I already know this information. This is information that you need to know. I'm aware. I've been exposed to the education, to the information. I am trying to share this knowledge with others. So I need assistance with that. I don't want to talk to my walls. I could sit here and talk to my walls for 45 minutes, but it wouldn't help in my goal of assisting the public with obtaining additional information regarding human trafficking. Okay. So please help Missing, Lost, and Trafficked promote, right, awareness on human trafficking by sharing this live stream. I want you to share the live stream. The goal, I'd like for there to be about 50 shares on this live stream. 50 shares that's the goal. And let's see, views. our viewership goal at least 100. Okay, I like to know that 100 people have been exposed, right? 100 people have watched this live stream before I end the stream, right? So by the time I have ended the stream, I'd like to be confident in knowing that a minimum of 100 individuals have watched this live stream on today. So with that being said, it's 9:26, and I am just going to continue with sharing this live stream with some folks. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm tagging individuals into the live stream tonight. I do have some very important information to share with you, and I may even add in and throw some additional tips in addition to the tips that I have retrieved from human trafficking advocates, right? And so I'm just giving you all time to join the live stream at this point. So that's what I'm doing. So I am going to tag some folks into the live stream on today. Why not tag Janet Jackson? I like to tag a few people with those blue check marks next to their name. So just tagging a few people, and they may join or may not. But just tagging some of those folks in on this live stream today. Some individuals I know who are supporters, my supporters. And so I'm tagging some folks in on the live stream. Let's see here. Several people I am tagging in on this live stream today. Today, we will be discussing tips to prevent human trafficking. That will be the topic for tonight. Okay. And if you have questions, feel free to, please feel free to ask whatever questions that you may have. Okay. So I am just finding some folks to tag in on this live stream today. And I'm tagging them. Yep. Let's see. Waiting on some of you to join. I'm wondering if this is a public post because I see 0 next to the I. That's making me feel as though I'm talking to myself. That's not good. So I'm just going to wait until some of these folks I'm tagging actually join the live stream today. I'm just going to wait and see what happens. We'll wait and see what happens. Okay. Let's see here. I'm going to tag some of my former church members on this specific live stream tonight. So that's what I'm doing right now. If you're wondering what I'm doing, tagging some of my supporters in on this live stream on tonight. And I'd like for you to share this live stream. I want you to share this live stream with share with everyone, because what I have to discuss is extremely important. I don't have a lot of viewers right now. I really don't. And so I need your help. There may be just a handful of folks watching right now. And so I need your help. And I see my sister is watching. You can help by just sharing the live stream on your page. That's how you can help. Sharing this live stream on your page, on your profile on tonight. And so I am looking for some more people to tag into this stream. That's what I'm doing right now. Thank you for taking the time out to join tonight. It's important that you know that human trafficking has become a pandemic in this country, an epidemic rather in this country. It has taken our country by storm, so to speak. So human trafficking is impacting all of us. You may feel as though it's not affecting you, but it is. You just don't know it yet, right? It is. Human trafficking is impacting all of us. All of us. Thank you for sharing. A lot of my supporters know I kind of stall a little bit just to wait to see who joins and give. I want to give my viewers, my followers. I have a lot of brand new followers. I want to give them time to join. I want you to know that I talk about other things other than the Astro World Festival. I see that I have like 6,000, almost 7,000 views for my rant on the Astro World Festival, but that is not the focus of my work, right? That is not the extent of what I actually do. I have about, it's almost 7,000 views. I don't know if this video is going to go viral or not, but there are a lot of folks sharing, and there are a lot of people watching that rant. It's something about my rants. It just captivates everyone's attention when I get to ranting about something. But there are other things, other matters that are extremely important besides the Astro World tragedy. And I need my followers and my friends to know that my new friends, I have new friends. I have new followers. There are people who are just now learning who I am and becoming to get, acquainted with me for the first time. So I want you to know that I am a missing person / homicide investigative journalist. That's important. So I want to tell you of some things about me first and foremost. I am a missing person / homicide investigative journalist. I research and investigate current and cold missing person cases. In addition to that, it's important that you know I also, on occasion, will investigate a homicide, an unsolved homicide case. My most recent homicide case, and this is a homicide case that I am so very, very proud of in terms of what my reporting contributed to. Most recently, I investigated the homicide of Glennon Nelson, and he is a Crown Point, or was a Crown Point, Indiana coach who was murdered while Lyft driving. You heard me correctly. Out in Miller, the Gary Miller, Indiana area. Okay. I accompanied Coach Nelson's family when they began looking for his vehicle that he had been driving, because after he was murdered, his vehicle mysteriously disappeared, but it was later found burned burned up in Gary, Indiana. I assisted the family, uh, with, gathering some information that would help them and investigators figure out relatively quickly who murdered him, and the awareness that I was able to successfully garner it greatly contributed to law enforcement doing what, they're paid to do. And it contributed to 2 individuals being arrested for the murder of Coach Nelson. You heard me correctly. 2 individuals who had murdered Coach Nelson in the Gary, Miller, Indiana area were arrested and charged. 2 Caucasian men. They were arrested and charged for murdering him. And I know I can't bring Coach Nelson back. I wish my reporting could have contributed to Coach Nelson being brought back to life. I know this is not how that works, but I am, however, grateful to God for leading me and directing my path so that Coach Nelson's family, that's very important, so that his family can get the justice. Get justice and get the answers that they were seeking. And I believe they did, for the most part. So yes, I am a missing person / homicide journalist. It's important that you know that I am a missing person / homicide journalist. That's what I do. I'm also an advocate. Some of you are watching me for the first time. I am a social justice advocate, activist. I am very much an activist. I have taken risks that other people may not have been willing to take for the sake of justice. Thank you so much for taking time out to share this specific live stream on today. I'm going to tag a few more individuals, and then I'm just going to go right into what I have to say tonight. It looks like there is like one viewer watching this live stream tonight. I know there's got to be more than one viewer, but I just see the number next to the number 1 next to the I, and so I'm like, wow, okay. So thank you so very much, whoever you are, for taking time to watch this live stream. I'm asking that you share this live stream. It is 9:39. I did say that I was going to begin discussing tips on human trafficking, on how to prevent human trafficking at 9:30. So I believe I need to kind of stick to, what I try to adhere to the time that I originally quoted for you all. Okay. With that being said, I am going to go ahead and I'm going to copy and paste some of these tips, and I want to copy and paste where the source, my source, so my sources are important, where I've gotten this information from. That's very, very important, extremely important, that you know where I am getting my information from. Okay. All right. So going to my email right now. And I'm going to copy and paste some of the tips that I will be discussing on tonight, and also my sources. Okay. I'm going to copy and paste those tips into the body, the comment section of this live stream tonight. So give me a moment. I'm trying to make sure that I have everything, every bit of this copied before I go into this today. And yes, we are going to be learning about human trafficking on tonight. What it is. I plan to go over the statistics. So it's like I'm having a hard time doing what I'm trying to do. So I plan on going over the statistics, the definition of human trafficking. Let me just select all on here and do it like that. Is it at the bottom that I need to do this? I'll just copy the URL link. I'll just copy the URL link into this Pacific StreamYard today. I have about 13 shares. I'll copy the URL link because I can't seem to get all of the tips copied into this live stream today. Okay. So we're going to go ahead. I just did that. I copied the URL link. All right. So now you may want to know what human trafficking is. What is human trafficking? So I'm pulling up the definition right now on what human trafficking is itself, right? How is human trafficking defined? Okay, so human trafficking involves the recruiting, the transporting, or holding victims to exploit them or to help someone else exploit them, generally for sexual purposes or work. You may want to know what some examples of human trafficking is tonight. The three most common types of human trafficking are sex trafficking, forced labor, and debt bondage. The three most common types of human trafficking is sex trafficking, forced labor, and debt bondage. Okay? Forced labor, also known as involuntary servitude, is the biggest sector of trafficking in the world, according to the U.S. Department of State. Okay? Forced labor is when someone is forced to work and or to provide services for a period of time and for an extensive amount of hours daily, generally daily. for little to no payment, monetary payment. Okay. Now, it's important that you know what debt bondage is as well, because you may be wondering, like, what is debt bondage? So I'm going to define that, because that is another type of trafficking. Debt bondage, also known as debt slavery, is bonded labor. It's the pledge of a person's services as security for the repayment for a debt or other obligation where the terms of the repayment are not clearly or reasonably stated, and the person who is holding the debt thus has some control over the laborer. So just in case if you were wondering what debt bondage is, debt bondage affects 50% of all forced labor victims. There are folks that are performing or fulfilling, rather, job requirements. They are laboring in different types of work fields for the sole purposes of paying off a debt. Yes, you heard me correctly. Paying off a debt. So that is debt bondage. I just want you to understand what human trafficking is, and I want you to also understand that human trafficking does not consist solely of sex services, right, being performed, or sex acts being performed for no compensation or little compensation, or sex acts that are forced by traffickers to be performed by the individual being trafficked. Human trafficking involves the use of force, fraud, coercion to obtain some type of labor or commercial sex act. Traffickers use force, fraud to lure their victims and force them into labor or commercial sexual exploitation. So that's important. Now I want to give you some statistics before we begin discussing tips. So human trafficking statistics, pulling up some human trafficking statistics right now. It's very important that we have a thorough understanding of what human trafficking is and the toll that human trafficking has had on our nation and on our world. So we know that trafficking involves the transporting of someone into a situation of exploitation. This can include forced labor, marriage, prostitution, and organ removal. The kind of exploitation is known by few different names. It's known as human trafficking, trafficking of persons, and modern slavery are the ones accepted by the U.S. Department of State. It is estimated that internationally, and I want you to know where I'm getting this information from. The source is dosomething.org. dosomething.org. Okay. It is estimated that internationally there are between 20 million and 40 million people in modern slavery today. Assessing the full scope of human trafficking is difficult because cases so often go undetected, something the United Nations refer to as the hidden figure of crime. Estimates suggest that internationally, only about 0.04% of survivors of human trafficking cases are identified, meaning that the vast majority of cases of human trafficking go undetected. It's important that you also know that human trafficking is a business, okay? It is a business. Human trafficking earns global profits of roughly 150 billion a year for traffickers. 99 billion of which comes from commercial sexual exploitation. Globally, an estimated 71% of enslaved people are women and girls, while men and boys account for 29%. You may be keeping an extra eye out on your girls, believing that only girls are at risk of being trafficked. I do want you to know it's important that you know that boys are also at risk of being trafficked and being lured into trafficking as well. Estimates suggest that about 50,000 people are trafficked into the U.S. each year, most often from Mexico and the Philippines. In 2018, over half, 51.6% of the criminal human trafficking cases active in the U.S. were sex trafficking cases involving only children. That's frightening, ladies and gentlemen. Reports indicate that a large number of child sex trafficking survivors in the U.S. were at one time in the foster care system. The average age a teen enters the sex trade in the U.S. is 12 to 14 years old. And many victims are runaway girls who were sexually abused as children. I hope you're listening. I'll state that again. Many victims are runaway girls who were runaways. They are at great risk when they run away. Runaway girls who were sexually abused as children. In 2018, the National Human Trafficking Hotline received more calls from California than any other state in the U.S., followed by Texas and Florida, respectively. To contact the Human Trafficking Hotline, you can call 1-888-373-7888 and or you can text 233-733 or chat online. I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste this information. This is very important into this actual live stream today before I proceed. Okay. So I'm going to copy and paste this information that I've shared with you into this live stream before I proceed. And I'm going to enter in my source. And that source has come from Do Something typing it in now. Do something.org. Okay, I have it now. All right. DoSomething.org. So I have included that information into this live stream today. All right. Now, what I like to do is go over some tips. These are human trafficking tips, prevention tips. Please, please, please pay attention to these tips and understand you can be trafficked. I can be trafficked. Your daughter can be trafficked. Your son can be trafficked. Anyone can be trafficked. Younger people are generally more at risk of being trafficked. But if you accept too many friend requests from too many shady people whose only intentions for befriending you is to observe your check-in locations on Facebook and observe your whereabouts, places you go, so they can pinpoint where you might be at certain times, you can be trafficked too. Yeah, I've become really, really guarded in regards to my Facebook and who I'm accepting as a friend. Yeah, and who I'm not. I don't need the wrong people knowing that they are the wrong people, observing and making note of my daily interactions. And I'm also mindful, much more mindful than I have been in the past, about checking in, where I'm checking in at. Yeah, you can check in and show your location if you're out at a restaurant having a bite to eat, if you are having drinks somewhere, if you are at a theme park, an amusement park, if you are watching a movie, you're able to, check into those locations. But I want to advise you, or I'm advising you, strongly advising you to reconsider those sorts of check-ins, because there are individuals who are following you. They can be a follower. These traffickers are very savvy, or a friend. And they're paying close attention to places you're checking in at, so they can kind of narrow down what city you live in or what neighborhood you live in, what places you frequent on certain days at certain times. Yeah. Keep that in mind too. So that's my tip that I want to share. Now I am going to give you some tips that I retrieved. I thought these tips were really good tips, and these tips are coming from www.ncptf.org. They listed 31 ways to help prevent human trafficking. I'm only going to review some of those ways that they listed today during this live stream. I won't be talking about all 31 ways to prevent human trafficking, but I did include a link to the website so you can, on your own, at your own leisure, review all of the 31 tips provided. The first tip that I want to share is that I believe, and I definitely agree with this organization, that to prevent human trafficking, it's important to share missing person posters. When someone goes missing and you are alerted on social media that someone is missing, whether this person may be a female or a male, it's important to share their posters because you're helping to promote awareness regarding that missing person. And if that person might be at risk, maybe they hadn't gotten trafficked yet, but they may be on the way to meet their trafficker. I've had I've become knowledgeable of certain situations where I was told, "Hey, Miss Wilson, what you've done has been extremely helpful because my child was on their way to meet their trafficker, and the awareness that you promoted helped tremendously because people that didn't know my child stepped in, called the police right away before that child met up with the trafficker." So it's very important to share a missing persons poster. It really helps. It really helps to create awareness, right? It helps law enforcement out. The more people exposed to a missing person or the face of a missing person, the better. Okay? You can really be instrumental in helping a family find out where their underage teen might be, where their child might be, before a person with not so good intentions encounters that child. Secondly, it's important that you learn how to spot the signs of sexual exploitation. Remember that sex trafficking is a lucrative trade that predominantly affects women and girls. Sexual exploitation occurs when someone is deceived, coerced, or forced to take part in sexual activity. Ways in which someone could be sexually exploited include, but aren't limited to, prostitution, brothels, escort agencies, pole lap dancing, forced marriage, webcamming, phone sex lines, internet chat rooms, mail order brides, pornography, and sex tourism. Someone may be being sexually exploited if they appear very guarded, if there's someone around that person monitoring their movement. That's how you're able to kind of, and this doesn't apply to all situations. Someone could just be in a controlling relationship with someone. That doesn't mean that they're being sex trafficked, but here's a sign to look for. If a movement is being restricted, right? If you could clearly see that someone's movement is being restricted, if they're showing signs of physical abuse, such as cigarette burns, bruises, or untreated medical conditions. If a person is not allowed to keep or have limited access to the money they make, that may show evidence of being forced, okay, into sexual trafficking, okay? If you're encountering someone, right, that shows psychological signs of emotional trauma, such as fear, anxiety, isolation, confusion, or a lack of self-esteem. Remember, spotting one of these signs may not mean that someone is being exploited or trafficked, but seeing one should be a reason to be suspicious. The more signs you see, the more likely that this person is being controlled, exploited, and trafficked. Okay? So, number 2, to help to prevent human trafficking, more specifically sex trafficking, it's important to understand and be able to identify the signs that someone may be in the midst of being trafficked. So you're able to maybe kind of pull them to the side, slip them a note, give them a number that they can contact, something of that nature, in order to connect them with law enforcement who can assist them or should be able to assist those individuals with being rescued from their traffickers. Third, it's really important to share up-to-date education on trafficking prevention. So sharing information is a way of preventing human trafficking. When you are exposed to information about human trafficking strategies, techniques, right? Things to look for. When you see that type of information surfacing on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, it is so important that you share the information. You don't have to elaborate on what you're sharing and give a full analysis into what you're sharing, but it's important that you at least share the information as you come across that information. Fourth, it's important, if you have time, to just become more educated on human trafficking by reading a book on human trafficking prevention. Or you can also, there are so many YouTube channels providing human trafficking education. And those channels are definitely helpful. Fifth, it's recommended that you subscribe to a podcast. I was just mentioning YouTube, or a YouTube channel focusing on trafficking prevention. Okay. The more views, the more they can create content. The nonprofit Christy Cause has a podcast web series that interviews those on the front lines of trafficking prevention. And number 6, and this is the last tip that I will be discussing today. This specific site has 31 tips. So I'm only going to discuss 6 of the 31 tips. Number 6 is that to help to prevent human trafficking, if you see something strange, report it. Report trafficking tips to the FBI. I don't know if you know, but if you are a Uber or a Lyft driver, you are able to contact customer support to report that a passenger is displaying signs of being trafficked. And then they will utilize the information they retrieve from a Uber or a Lyft trip to notify law enforcement. So the appropriate, measures can be taken to do a wellness check of some sort on that individual. And I'm in the rideshare business, so I remember a young white girl. She had gotten in. I picked her up, and there was a Caucasian gentleman with her. I picked her up with this, and they both were Caucasian. I picked her and this gentleman up at a Red Lobster, and something I've found to be odd is that the Red Lobster was closed at the time. And so it was after hours, and that Red Lobster may have been closed at least an hour or hour and a half, right? By the time I arrived to pick them up, and they were just standing there in an empty parking lot. And so there were hotels in the area, hotels and motels. And so I wasn't sure. I didn't know what the situation was, right? I don't know if, they had walked to, a gas station or somewhere else nearby and they just needed a ride. And that was just the place they pinpointed was this Red Lobster that was closed and no one happened to be in the parking lot. But I did pick them up and picked up these two individuals, and that was a few months ago. And she got in the car, and they're sitting behind me, and I'm just, it was just a kind of a eerie feeling, right, that I had. And so I began just listening. I had music playing, but I was just really listening to what was coming out of her mouth. Okay. Just paying closer attention, a little bit more attention than I generally would have paid. Those specific people, had they not requested for someone to pick them up in an empty Red Lobster's parking lot. And so I remember hearing her say, I'm just so scared. I'm just so scared. And she kept saying it. And I was just like, why is this girl constantly saying, I was just so scared. I'm just so scared. And she was saying, and then I was paying attention to her features. She didn't look as though she was at least 18 years of age. This girl had to be somewhere between, she could have been between 15 to 16 years of age, maybe 17, but I just wasn't getting, I'm listening to her, that she was of age, right? And you can tell, you can hear it, when someone is young, you can hear it in the conversation and how they talk. And I can't put it into words, but you grown folks know when you're picking up babies. Okay. So she was a baby to me. And I heard her kept saying, I'm just so scared. I'm just so scared. And she said, thank you for helping me out back there. And I thought they were going to do something to me. And thank you so much. Thank you so much. She was saying thank you to the white guy who was in the car at the time. And so I'm driving them to their location, and the location that I was driving them to was a hotel nearby. And when I dropped those individuals off, instead of me just going on about my business, I could have just went on about my business. I thought about it, and I just felt like she wanted me to hear her express how scared she was, because she said it too many times. Uh, I called the police, and told them, look, and there was some other things she was saying that led me to believe that she could be a runaway or something like that. I was kind of gathering that she was just like out there on the streets, and she's with this guy, and something had went down. Something had went down that freaked her completely out. And I guess this guy came to her rescue or whatever. And so I called the police, and I said, look, I'm in front of this hotel. I just dropped this girl off. The way she's talking, I don't even think she's 18 years of age. Somebody might be reporting this girl missing tomorrow. I don't know, maybe even right now. But I'm going to do my part, and I want y'all to check it out. I'm here. I'm still here. And I told those police, I'm going to stay right here at this hotel. And I did. Hey, this is how I get down. I'm going to stay right here until I know that you all have pulled up to assess the situation, check things out, and try to find this young lady. I think something's wrong. I think she was trying to give me a cue, by constantly saying, I'm just so scared. I'm so scared. I'm like, what the heck? And so I waited for them. I waited for the police to pull up. I stayed there. Like I said, And then I don't know what it is about the police. They want to try to detain you. Look, I'm trying to report that I think a young girl is in trouble. I think that there's a young girl I just dropped off at this hotel with this white guy who probably should be at home somewhere with mama, daddy, auntie, or grandpa, or somebody. But she's out here with this guy, and she's talking about, I'm just so scared. I'm so scared. And she sounded like she giving me runaway vibes. She was giving me runaway vibes. And so they checked into it. They wanted to see my ID. No problem. Whatever. Go ahead. Look at my ID. Check me out. I'm going to stay right here. So I know you've gone into that hotel and looked into this situation. And so they went in there and they were trying to figure out where she had gone. And they just weren't able to kind of narrow it down. I don't even think that the front desk person really even paid attention to them walking in there. Really, they could have been getting coffee or anything, but because this was like after 10 at night, sometime between 10 and 12, something like that. And so, long story short, they just had a difficult time trying to figure out where she went. Really, I think they asked the customer service or the front desk person to run the cameras back. Not sure, but I went to bed and I slept well knowing that I at least tried. I tried to help. I tried to do what I thought was right. At least I tried. I don't know what became of this young girl. What happened? I said, I want this on the record that I reported that I picked up these two people and this girl was talking about she was scared and she's giving me runaway vibes. I want that on the record just in case there's some folks coming into the police department in a few hours or calling y'all talking about they don't know where their kid is. All right. So I did what I could do, So if you feel that something is wrong, you might be a little tired, you might be aggravated, you might just be ready to go home. No telling what, you might be hungry, you might be just about to go grab you a burger somewhere. You ain't got time for this, but I want you to make time, right? To alert authorities if you are a ride share driver and you are picking up someone and they are displaying signs that something could be wrong. All right. That if they're displaying those sorts of signs, okay? A person can just be tired, okay? A person can be mad and a person can be scared. Maybe they scared their phone about to get cut off, whatever. That's different kind of fear right there, okay? We talking about, you feeling as though based upon your assessing a situation that someone is really in trouble. And the best way for me to assess the situation is just listen. I have to listen and try to listen for a key, words and things of that nature in order to kind of better. Sometimes, an expression helps, right? Depending on what that expression is looking like and the movements of a person. But, there's nothing more powerful than words being uttered, right? So just pay attention, be vigilant. I am going to include some more resources into the body. I keep saying the comment section of this StreamYard. I'm not sure who's watching me right now. I'm just going to give myself a thumbs up, and I'm going to ask you to give me a thumbs up if you're watching right now before I end this live stream. It just feels like I'm talking to the wall right now. I know there's somebody watching. I see my mom is watching, but it feels that way. It feels that way. So I'm going to be providing human trafficking awareness education. I'm learning myself. So I am learning a lot. There's a lot I'm learning. I am learning because I am nowhere near an expert on this thing. And I would ideally would like to work with human trafficking organizations. There was an organization that reached out to me all the way in Africa telling me, hey, we know about you. You help find people. We got all these girls out here in Africa. They're, being trafficked, things that of nature, things of that nature. We need you over here in Africa. And so I got to think about that. But I'm just trying to get as much education as I can. And as I learn information and get a thorough understanding of what I'm learning, I am going to be sharing that information with you all. So this human trafficking education will be going on full speed throughout the month of November. Hopefully, I can get in contact with human trafficking survivors and they will share their story with us via audio or video, whatever's comfortable with them. But for the rest of November, I'm going to pull a little bit away from my missing person reporting, meaning I won't be going as hard into it. And then I'm going to focus more so on that human trafficking awareness for the rest of this month and throughout December. Okay. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this live stream today. And I want you to take heed of the information that has been provided tonight. Stay safe and have a great night. A safe night, rather.